I'm Jen Vadney. I'm an instructional technology TOA for Redlands Unified School District, and I'm also the author of the blog Communicating Mathematically.
And I'm Paul Macumber. I'm a writing TOA for Redlands Unified School District, and I'm here to interview Jen for the Metacognition Project.
The premise of this project is to highlight the self-reflection process for teachers by inviting them to share a lesson or activity and discuss their expectations for their activity, what they observed during the activity, and any takeaways they had afterwards.
So Jen, let's go ahead and start. Why don't you describe the main idea of the lesson?
Okay. I have been working on a Desmos activity for primary grades, and it's 10 frames where students could interact with it by dragging the dots into the 10 frames to make number sentences. I had reached a point where I didn't know where to go with it. I had to see it in the hands of kids in order to know what my next step was. So I paired up with an elementary school TOA, and we went into Camille's classroom. She's a kindergarten teacher here in the district, and we worked with half the class, and Camille worked with the other half, and then we switched, and so that was the background history.
Excellent. So why don't you go ahead and describe your goal for the lesson?
Okay. Well, first I needed to see it in the hands of kids in order to know what my next step was. But I also wanted to see if kids could interact with it. You know, if the touchscreen tablet worked for them and their little fingers. I needed to know if the zooming ability of Desmos was an issue for them, and then to see if they could not only read their number sentence, but if we said, hey, tell us what makes 7, they could give us more than one way of doing that. So 6 plus 1 or 5 plus 2. So I wanted to see if they could make multiple number sentences for the same number.
So what were your expectations going in?
I was really hoping that they would find joy in the activity. That was number one. I wanted them to be excited about math and the interaction piece and causing the numbers to change within the grid. I also expected that the zooming aspect could be an issue for some. So those are my expectations going into it.
So what did you actually observe, though?
They liked it. They were really excited. Once they got the hang of moving the dots, and we asked them, please share your number sentence. They wanted to share all the time. So that was really nice to hear kids get excited about talking about mathematics. The zooming, some kids were savvy enough to deal with it, but other kids either made it really small and got frustrated, or really big and thought it was hysterical. So I needed to fix that.
Excellent. Did you have any takeaways from the lesson?
I did. So one student looked at this model, and I asked him to read what his number sentence was, and he said it was 3 plus 3 plus 1 equals 7. And that blew my mind, because I had spent all my time in middle level. I had never really spent any time in kindergarten, and I was like, why didn't he say 6? And so I kind of stepped back and thought, whoa, he's not even looking at these numbers here. He's looking at the dots. He didn't see that group of dots as 6, so he's not supervising the bigger numbers. And I was wondering, hey, what other kids aren't supervising bigger numbers? What other kids aren't looking at the numbers and symbols underneath? If those kids are reading those 6 plus 1 equals 7, do they really know what 6 dots looks like? So I walked away with a ton more questions than I walked in with.
Excellent. So on that note, have you learned any lessons for the future?
Yes. So I love that activity because it was explorative. I revamped it and used the marble slide technology that Desmos has, and that has a fixed screen, so the zooming is no longer an issue. And then as a self-check, because the teacher that we were working with wanted a self-check, I used, again, the marble slides, because if I launch that marble, right now 2 plus 2 equals 4, although that's true, that doesn't answer my question of create a number sentence that makes 5. So they have to try again. And when they check, it's success. So they can try out their different number sentences to make 5 and see if it's right or wrong. And I think that's it. I guess another lesson learned is when a student says something that you're not expecting, dive deeper.
Oh,
Ask more
absolutely.
questions.
Yeah.
So I'm prepared the next time I go back to work with that student and ask some questions regarding the 10 frames in number of sentences.
Excellent. Well, I wish you luck in the future.
All right. Thanks.
Thank
for
you.
being a part of this.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching.